In the 2002-2003 NBA season, the Pistons finished first seed in the East with a 50-32 record. In the first round, they struggled to beat the Orlando Magic in just 7 games. In the second round, they beat the Philadelphia 76ers in 6 games. In the conference finals, they got swept by the New Jersey Nets, led by Jason Kidd. In the 2003 NBA draft, there were big names such as Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, and Carmelo Anthony. The Pistons had the second pick in the draft, and they chose Darko Milicic, one of the biggest busts, and it was a great mistake on their part. But what if they didn't? What if they chose Carmelo Anthony instead? What's up, guys? It's your boy, Young Jay, here with my first video. Today I will be talking about why Carmelo Anthony would have won 3 rings if he was drafted by the Detroit Pistons. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot. Now on to the video.
Especially now. I don't know what I would have been if I would have went to Detroit. I know I'd have had maybe 2 or 3 rings.
In the 2003-2004 NBA season, the Pistons finished 3rd in the conference with a 54-28 record. In the first round of the playoffs, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games. In the semifinals, they versed the Nets, who swept them last year, but this time the Pistons would prevail and win in a close 7 games. In the Eastern Conference Finals, they defeated the Indiana Pacers in 6 games. In the NBA Finals, they would beat the Los Angeles Lakers, led by Kobe and Shaq, in 5 games in one of the biggest upsets in NBA history. So now that you know how the Pistons did without Carmelo, imagine if they drafted him. In Carmelo's rookie season, he averaged 21 points, 6 rebounds on 42% from the field. He would have added great scoring punch to the 24th place in offense Pistons. The Pistons were one of the best defensive teams in NBA history. Their biggest weakness was always their lack of scoring. But I think if you add Carmelo Anthony's 21 points and put it on this Pistons team, they would be way better with it rather than Tayshaun Prince's 10 points. And since the Pistons were such a great defensive team, they could cover for Carmelo's defensive struggles. And if you take in that the person the Pistons actually drafted in real life, Darko Milicic, only made no impact, only averaging 1.4 points, which didn't help them win the championship at all. So that's why I believe the 2003-2004 Pistons would have won the championship just like they did without Carmelo. But adding him, they would have won it as well, which gives Carmelo 1 ring. In the 2004-2005 NBA season, the Pistons signed veteran Antonio McDyess in the offseason. The Pistons were looking to go on another title run, but Ben Wallace got involved with the infamous Malice in the Palace. But it didn't affect them that much because they finished with the same record and standing from last year, 54-28, and second place in the Eastern Conference. In the first round, the Pistons defeated the Philadelphia 76ers in 5 games. In the second round, they beat the Indiana Pacers in 6 games. In the conference finals, they defeated top-seeded Miami Heat in 7 games to advance to the finals for the second consecutive year. However, they would lose to the Spurs in a close 7-game series. But what if you add Carmelo Anthony to that Pistons team that lost to the Spurs? In the 2004-2005 NBA season, Carmelo Anthony averaged 20.8 points on 43% shooting, which would have helped the Pistons win that series against the Spurs, because the Pistons struggled to score in that series, only averaging 86 points per game in that series. But what if you add Carmelo Anthony to that team? His scoring presence would have helped his team far more than the struggling Tayshaun Prince, who averaged 10 points. So I believe they would have won that finals with the extra scoring punch, and Carmelo would have gotten 2 rings by his second season. It wouldn't have made them way better. In the 2005-2006 NBA season, the Pistons finished with an astonishing 64-18 record, good enough for the first place in the Eastern Conference. In the first round of the playoffs, they defeated the Bucks in 5 games. In the second round, they beat the Cavaliers in a close 7-game series. They reached the conference finals but lost to the Miami Heat in 6 games. But what if they had Carmelo? In the 2005-2006 NBA season, Carmelo made a huge leap, averaging 26.5 points on 48% from the field. The Pistons once again struggled heavily on offense, only averaging 84.7 points per game in that series. Although Tayshaun Prince had a good series, averaging 60 points on 40% from 3, Richard Hamilton struggled, averaging 20 points, but on only 38% from the field and 29% from 3. And Carmelo's scoring would have helped them a lot, and I believe they would have beaten the Miami Heat. And as they went on to beat the Miami Heat, in the finals they would have versed the Dallas Mavericks led by Dirk Nowitzki, who they would have beaten with Carmelo on their team because I believe they're simply a better team. Also in real life, when Dallas versed Miami, Dirk Nowitzki struggled heavily, averaging only 22 points on 39% from the field and 25% from 3. And with Defensive Player of the Year winner Ben Wallace guarding him, he might have done even worse in that series against the Pistons. So I believe that they also would have won the 2005-2006 NBA championship, giving Carmelo 3 rings in his first year. I know it sounds unbelievable, but I really do believe they would have won 3 rings in a row and gone on to do a three-peat. Finished with a final for the first seed in the first round in 4 games. In the second round, they would defeat the Chicago Bulls in 6 games. In the NBA Conference Finals, Verms led Cavaliers. The Pistons would fall to the Cavaliers in 6 games. Last in offense, he would have helped a lot to improve them, because in the 2006-2007 NBA season, Melo averaged 29, 4, and 6 on 47% field goal shooting, and adding a superstar of his caliber to this would have pushed them over the top of Cleveland, who only had 1 star and a bunch of role players around LeBron. In this series, the Pistons averaged 86 points per contest, and they struggled heavily to put points up that can match with LeBron James, who averaged 25 points per game that series. But Carmelo is a great scorer, and he would have been a player who could match LeBron's production or are around his level. And since LeBron's team was so bad all around, the Pistons, who were a good all-around team with Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton to help Melo, would have easily beaten the LeBron-led Cavaliers if Carmelo was added to the team. I believe if they won against the 2006-2007 San Antonio Spurs, they would lose, mainly because San Antonio was clearly just a better team, and the Pistons were probably mentally and physically tired from going to finals for 3 years in a row. Also, the Spurs were the number 1 defensive team that year, and they were better on offense than the Pistons. The San Antonio Big Three of Tony Parker. San Antonio also had a coaching advantage with Greg Popovich being as great of a coach that he is. He could probably make a best game plan for Melo to kind of slow him down. Also, with them having Bruce Bowen, one of the best on-ball defenders in NBA history, to guard him as well. Anyways, guys, that's it for the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And Young J out.